Hey everybody, it's Josh at Walnut Ridge. This week I was just going to show you some potential things that may happen. We don't really know the exact cause of this one yet. We're starting to look into it. I know the customer's wheel came off while they're going down the road. I don't know if that's a result of maybe the lugs got torqued. If they had new tires put on, you need to stop every 50 miles or so for that first 150 to 200 miles and check and make sure the lugs are torqued properly, they didn't back off. It's something like that could have happened. This being a toy hauler, it's possible that maybe the load that they had in here was, for one, either too heavy, or maybe if they had like a single bike and they put it off to one side instead of the middle, we had more weight on this side, so that caused some stress for that to come off. This one has two fuel tanks on the back as well, one for the generator and one for, you have a pumping station so you can fuel up your toys or whatever that you carry in the back. So that added weight plus whatever was in there could have been a contributing factor on this. There's a few things that's going on with it now that we've still got to determine, and obviously we'll level it up and take some measurements, but our initial measurements we've already found out the leaf springs on this are starting to flatten out. The camber's kind of going away in the axle, so that's a potential problem. Even after we fix all the cosmetic stuff here, and going down the road, if you have a problem with the axle, they could end up in the same situation. So we'll make sure we try and find everything that is wrong and get that fixed. But this is really close to the floor line under here, so if we don't get that fixed, even just some rough roads could cause some more damage and end up taking this out. As you can see, all the stuff that it causes through here, and this is actually a fuel filling spot here. You got a gas cap on there to fill on the tank, so that potentially could have been way worse than what it ended up being. But it's just a good visual to remind you of how diligent you have to be when you're out traveling. The first thing you do, walk around, make sure your air pressure's right, make sure the lugs are tight on this, everything looks good on the outside before you tow it. If you're loading stuff in the back, make sure it's secure, make sure you've got the weight evenly distributed so you're not putting extra stress on one side or the other. Make sure we're not overloading it. You really need to see if we're kind of squatting too much on this, we may have too much weight in there. But then once you get on the road and you make that first stop somewhere, maybe to refuel or take a break, get something to eat, whatever you're doing, that's a good time to go around and check all that stuff again. Make sure nothing's shifted, make sure nothing's loose inside, make sure you still got good air pressure. Because the last thing you need is to be on the side of the road with this kind of damage and trying to change a tire on a unit this big, especially. It'll certainly put a bad taste for your family vacation that you're trying to go on. So just some helpful tips. You always need to be diligent and visually inspect, get the proper tools you need to check your lug nut torque and your air pressure, and actually do that stuff when you're out on the road. That'll make sure you get to your destination and also, as importantly, be able to get back home afterwards. So hopefully this will help you guys. Thanks.